This is where the best opportunities are made. And I've been in situations like this before. And the difference is this is an all-time low, not an all-time high. Previously, when we had the move to the upside in previous cycles, we've been at all-time highs. Therefore, this is why we need to remain positive and also strong on alts. Over the last week, trillions have been wiped off from the global market. Crypto, stocks, precious metals, including gold and silver, everything is bleeding right now. And if you're panicking, you're already losing. What I'm about to show you is exactly why this move is happening and why this is not the right time to sell. Let's get the fundamental FUD out the way first. Of course, you already know I don't usually trade fundamentals. I trade technicals and I look at market structure. Trump has nominated Kevin Walsh as the new Fed chair, as Trump strongly criticizes Jerome Powell for not cutting rates enough. Alongside this, we've had Epstein files which have been released, and we're also having strong geopolitical tension with Iran right now. Now, all of this doesn't really matter because everything has been fixed within the market already. All of this fundamental news we know has already been fixed within the market. In my previous videos, I said to you the downside targets that I'm expecting the total market cap, BTC and Ethereum to hit. Now I'm going to go over specifically what I'm looking at and take into consideration that we're going to have the monthly close today and the weekly closure tomorrow. That's why I'm creating this video for you guys, to give you an understanding of how I analyze the market during the end of the month and also end of the week. Normally, when we get the monthly close and also the weekly close, we expect some form of manipulation. Now let's go into the monthly time frame on the total market cap chart first. And this is important to look at because this is looking at the complete total market cap of all cryptos. We can see total market cap monthly time frame for January. We've come up, we've taken out last month's high, and we've also now taken out last month's low, December's low. And interestingly, I'll go on the lower time frame. I mentioned I wanted the total market cap to tap into these lows down here. If you remember that liquidation candle we had in November, these lows down here. And when I was looking at the charts yesterday and the day before yesterday, we didn't tap it. And today, for some reason, seems like the data may have been manipulated or incorrect. It seems like we have now tapped it. So looking on the weekly time frame, for example, you can see as I zoom in, we've actually swept this liquidity. Now, I don't know how much I believe how accurate that is. I am expecting a move to the downside still though. So just going back onto the monthly time frame, what I'm expecting is a stronger move to the downside. That's what I want to see. Now, whether that happens today or it may happen as we begin the February open. So as we open in February, we may come down, and I'll tell you the targets that I'm looking at to the downside first, and then we will get a strong move to the upside, leaving a wick to the downside and possibility for a stronger move to the upside. That's one scenario on the monthly time frame. However, if we don't get that, what we may get is just a small move to the downside, sweeping these lows, getting into the targets I will discuss in a second, and then we'll just get a move to the upside and we'll close as a doji, and then we'll get a stronger move to the upside coming March onwards. Weekly time frame, what I'm expecting, downside targets, let's go over these. Number one, I mentioned this to you guys before, 2.7 trillion is my first target to the downside. I want to see the total strike that level clearly. I know we've striked it already, but I don't really trust this move that we've had so far. So I want to see price come back in a bit more deeper and strike those levels, and then we can assess from there. Now, if we do come lower, the next target that I'm looking at is the regions of 2.3 trillion. Now, I mentioned to you guys in my previous video, this is unlikely to happen, but we can't rule out the possibility that it won't happen at all. We need to assess the situation, but we can see this is a possibility. Alongside that, if I put on a fib from these lows to these highs, we can see around that region is where we're looking. Around the regions of 2.3 trillion on the total market cap is where we're looking. We haven't yet had a strike into this level down here. So this could be a wick fishing zone area. And what I mean by that is if we come lower, we may come into this region down here of the 61.8 and have a bounce off that region down there. I want to see how the weekly closes around this level first. Ideally, I don't want to see a close below the 78.6, but we do have some key strong levels below that we can use as strong liquidity areas. Now, on the daily time frame, what we can see, this area here, what we're seeing right now is your accumulation. What we've got right now is known as your manipulation. The downside targets, which I already told you guys, is all part of the manipulation. And at this point, I keep getting asked the question, when are we going to be moving to the upside? Now, honestly, if you're asking these types of questions, I'd assume that you're fairly new in the crypto industry. We are currently in the accumulation phase. And by that, I mean we should be buying, we should be holding and buying our spot bags. This is where most of the best decisions are made, whilst everyone else is extremely fearful, and we need to remain calm and handle your emotions well. This is where the best opportunities are made, and you will never get an opportunity which is so obvious. Down here, when we had that move on BTC to the upside, people were buying at all-time highs because it was so obvious. People were thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to continue buying. However, when we get moves like this, it's not so obvious we should be buying, because people are extremely fearful. There's a lot of uncertainty in the market. It will always come when it's least obvious, when people are in extreme fear. And I remain optimistic around these levels. And I remain optimistic to the point where I know we will get an alt season. We have to just be patient, and we have to remain strong-minded and remove the FUD. Get away from crypto news, get away from the crypto influencers, because they will skew your view and your bias. Now, just coming back onto the daily time frame on the total market cap chart, we can see we've struck into some key areas. I'm going to put on the lows down here. Okay, so what we can see is we've struck target level 1, 2, target level 2, 3, our sell side liquidity target has been swept, but again, I'm not buying this right now. I don't think this is a confirmed move to the downside. I want to see a bigger move like this. I want to see a move which is not manipulated. I want to see a move that comes into those regions of the fib levels. I think it was around 2.6 trillion. Let's just mark on that level. So this area down here, 2.68 trillion, that's exactly where I'm looking for possibility of the total market cap getting tapped into and a reversal from these areas. Now, like I said to you, if the market continues dumping from here, our full downside target is at 2.3 trillion, and that's where we want to look. If we come lower, we've got that 78.6 level that we can bounce off as well. Those are the key regions that I'm looking at on total. Nothing has changed. I am still bullish in the market, and I am still accumulating my spot bags as we move down. Now, just going on to BTC on the weekly time frame, let's have a look at what we can see. So on BTC, we haven't yet taken out the lows down here. So that's the difference that we can see on total versus BTC. Now, this is why I do feel like we will get a bigger move to the downside. Downside targets on BTC, target level 1, I called it on my channel before, 80,500. That's my first target, this red line down here. My second downside target is these regions here, 74,000. Now, we do have possibility of price reversing within this region, which I'll go on the lower time frame, but that's what I'm seeing on the weekly for the downside targets. Let's see how the monthly is currently looking right now. Now, if we do close the monthly and fill this wick, that would be a good sign, because what we may get is just the wick fill down here. Price will likely close within that region. We'll get February open, a wick down, and a possibility of a move back up. And if we don't get that, we'll get a doji close with that wick down. And then March will give us that aggressive move to the upside. So let's see how that plays out. That's what I'm seeing on the monthly time frame. Daily time frame, what we can see is we do have we have order blocks resting around the mid of these levels down here. We're calling it just under 80K. So price may come in just under 80K, 79,000, and reverse from there. Now, in terms of targets on the daily time frame, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fib from this high to this low down here, A, B, C, rejected off the OT level, a very nice clean close. And then we've had target level 1, target level 2, both struck into. Now we're holding target level 1 right now. If you can see on the daily time frame, we've struck that target level 1, we closed above it, we struck it again, we've closed above it. Now, let's see how we react off these levels down here. But ultimately, what I'm expecting is for price to come in and sweep these lows down here. I won't be convinced and I won't take any positions unless we get the strike into those levels down here. Now back on the weekly, just very quickly, what we can also see is a market maker, a larger market maker sell model in play, because what we can essentially look at is your buy side of the curve down here and your sell side down here. If we get the completion of this market maker sell model, this will be a great sign for us to buy from these lows down here. And I'm not talking about just leverage positioning yourself, but also spot buying. This is the best time for you to accumulate your spot bags in your alts. I'm not talking about your high caps that are already at all-time highs. I'm talking about the mid to low caps. I'll go over 1 or 2 coins with you at the end of this video. Now, one other thing that I can see that's currently happening right now is we know this low down here needs to get swept. And if we look back in 2022 to 2023, the market is doing pretty much the same thing. We've got the lows down here, and over the space of, let's just call that from June 2022 up until October, 3 months of price action, we moved sideways. And then we've got the strong aggressive sweep to the downside. And then after that, we still had about 8 weeks of accumulation. And then the market decides to move up from there. So overall, that's about 6 to 7 months. But what we can see down here, we are likely to have something similar. We've had about 8 to 10 weeks of accumulation down here. We haven't yet had the complete manipulation. And if we get the complete manipulation, what we're expecting is the price to possibly do something like this, and then we'll shoot back up. And this is why you need to remain patient, and you can't forecast when this is going to happen. But what you can do is position yourself nicely in the market so you get the best buys possible. Whilst everyone else is fearful, you should be greedy. Now coming on to Ethereum, on the monthly time frame, Ethereum is looking pretty good. We've been pretty resilient on Ethereum. I'm pretty surprised how strong Ethereum has been holding up. We've had the sweep off the lows down here, off this liquidation candle, which is great. We've got a weekly order block resting below. So that will be my first target, 2.5K. And my second target coming onto the weekly will be the regions between 2.1K to 2.5K. Daily time frame, we can refine that, but I'm looking around this region down here. If we get a weekly closure similar to what we're seeing right now, it could be a good sign, because what I'm then expecting is for the next week and also the next month's open is just to come a bit lower, taking out liquidity from below within the regions of 2.1K to 2.5K. Ideally, I do want to see 2.1K get struck, and that could be your liquidation candle, a strong manipulation liquidation candle, and we'll close above back within this accumulation phase. And this will be known as our distribution. So within these regions is where you want to be buying your spot positions. So similarly, what we can also see is the market maker sell model on Ethereum. If you look at this as your original consolidation, we had the move up, and now this is your sell side of the curve, and we had the move down. And we also have another market maker sell model within it, which is pretty much completed. So therefore, if we do get that move down just short term, we may get the bigger move to the upside just from here. There is a possibility for us to reverse from these regions as well. Now, coming on to Algo, the coin that I've been mentioning on this channel various times. Now, if I just zoom completely out on the monthly time frame, usually when we are in a bear market, we normally see the alts pump first. However, if people are calling for a bear market right now, essentially what they're confirming is that everything is just going to collapse from here and we will go to zero. Now, I think that's highly unlikely. We're going to get something like that. And the reason why I remain optimistic is because we haven't yet had the bigger move to the upside. And this is your accumulation phase. You should be buying around these regions. So if we continue moving lower from here, I'm expecting all of my subscribers to be looking and buying around these regions. And that means to buy your mid to low cap alts. Don't buy your XRPs, your Ethereums for spot buy. I mean, you can if you want to, but if your goal is to make as much money and extract as much money from the market, I wouldn't look at Ethereum or XRP. I would be looking at your mid to low cap altcoins. Now, this is where the best opportunities are made. And I've been in situations like this before. And the difference is this is an all-time low, not an all-time high. Previously, when we had the move to the upside in previous cycles, we've been at all-time highs. Therefore, this is why we need to remain positive and also strong on alts. Now, just to finish up on this video, BTC, we want to see how we close on the monthly time frame. We want to see how we close on the weekly time frame. The most important thing to do is remain patient. Now, I did take a position on Ethereum. I got stopped out. I took a position on Algo. I managed to capture 20% of my position and I closed the rest at break even. Now, if we do come lower, I will let you know what positions I'll be buying, but the main regions I'm looking at, number one, on the total is to come into those regions below 2.7, and I want to see BTC come into that region of 80k first, and we can assess how we reverse from those regions. And then if we do get a bigger move to the downside, I will be looking to accumulate much more spot, and also I'll be taking some leverage positions. Now, if you want live updates on any positions that I take, follow me on my Twitter page. The username is in the description below. And if you like these types of videos, consider subscribing. I trade crypto using the ICT strategy. Like, share, and comment, and I'll see you in the next video.